The man who does nothing and wins. We've all seen him. That quiet guy in the corner who barely talks, never seems busy, doesn't seem to be trying too hard. But somehow things work out for him. His projects gain traction. His ideas resonate. People listen. He's not flashy, loud, or obsessed with productivity hacks. And yet success seems to bend toward him. You know what happens next? People start whispering. Is he lucky? Is he faking it? Is he even doing anything at all? This figure, the lazy, ambitious man, is both mysterious and magnetic. He doesn't burn out. He doesn't broadcast every move. He waits, he watches, and then he strikes. He moves differently. And because he doesn't play by the same rules, society doesn't know what to do with him. So, we do what humans always do when faced with something we don't understand. We fear it. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist who mapped the human psyche like no one before him, might say that this fear isn't really about him. It's about us. Because the lazy, ambitious man holds up a mirror to our anxieties, our insecurities, and, most of all, our addiction to performance. His mere existence questions the story we've all been told, that success only comes from grinding, suffering, and proving ourselves constantly. This essay explores why society is so unsettled by the lazy, ambitious man, and how Jung's ideas about the shadow, the archetype, and individuation help explain our discomfort. 1. Who is the lazy, ambitious man? Contrary to how he's labeled, the lazy, ambitious man isn't actually lazy. He's driven, just not in the way we're used to seeing. His ambition is slow-burning, internal, often invisible. He doesn't chase opportunity like prey. He attracts it by being intentional. He doesn't announce every move, he lets outcomes speak for him. This makes him frustrating to some and fascinating to others. Culturally, ambition is expected to look a certain way: loud, public, aggressive, and time-consuming. The hustler who posts daily wins on LinkedIn. The entrepreneur working 18-hour days. The student burning out to chase perfect grades. The lazy, ambitious man breaks this mold entirely. He might spend hours in quiet contemplation, reading, thinking, strategizing. Activities that don't look like work, but underneath the surface, real power is building. He's dangerous to the system because he's proof that you don't have to conform to it. He exposes the myth that motion equals progress. He contradicts the productivity-obsessed culture by embodying a slower, deeper kind of intelligence, one that society has forgotten how to value. And this difference, this refusal to conform, is what draws fear, resentment, and projection. 2. Jung's shadow, the parts of ourselves we can't accept. Carl Jung believed that every person carries a shadow. The unconscious parts of ourselves that we reject, hide, or suppress. Traits like laziness, weakness, or fear often get stuffed into this shadow. But here's the twist. The shadow also includes positive qualities we were told we shouldn't own, like creativity, power, and self-trust. The lazy, ambitious man triggers our shadow. He doesn't seek external validation. He moves at his own pace. He refuses to perform for approval. And for people who've spent their lives doing the opposite, proving their worth, hustling for acceptance, his presence is deeply unsettling. Not because he's wrong, but because he shows them what they've lost. In Jung's view, when we're confronted with someone who embodies our shadow, we don't admire them. We project our fears onto them. We say they're lazy, arrogant, lucky, or undeserving. We tear them down, not because of who they are, but because they awaken something in us that we'd rather keep buried. The fear of the lazy, ambitious man is a fear of facing ourselves. 3. Persona and social performance. Another Jungian concept, the persona, explains why society is so obsessed with external appearance. The persona is the social mask we wear. It's the image we project to fit into society, to be accepted, to meet expectations. Most people build their lives around maintaining this mask. The lazy, ambitious man refuses to wear it. He doesn't pretend to be busier than he is. He doesn't fake effort to gain approval. He knows what matters to him, and acts accordingly, even if no one is watching. That kind of authenticity is rare and threatening. Why? Because most people have built their identity around performance. Take away the job title, the daily hustle, the curated online image, and who are they? The lazy, ambitious man doesn't need those props. His identity isn't anchored in productivity theater. That scares people because it forces them to question whether their own lives are as solid as they seem. 4. Archetypes and the collective unconscious. Jung also proposed that there are universal patterns, archetypes, that live in the human psyche. These archetypes are ancient symbols or roles we all recognize: the hero, the wise old man, the rebel, the trickster. The lazy, ambitious man, whether he knows it or not, taps into a specific archetype, the seer. Someone who withdraws from the world to gain vision, then returns with insight. But here's the problem. Society doesn't value the seer anymore. We want action, noise, and speed. The modern world worships the hero, the doer, the conqueror, the builder. The seer, by contrast, disappears into silence. He may seem idle, but his work happens in the unconscious, in dreams, in solitude. And when he returns, he brings clarity that can shake the foundation. That's why this archetype is feared. It carries the power to dismantle illusions. The lazy, ambitious man represents a force that isn't measurable in numbers, likes, or productivity metrics. He's playing a different game, one where the currency is inner clarity, not outward appearance. 5. Mass psychology and the fear of difference. Jung warned that modern societies often fall prey to mass psychology, a kind of unconscious groupthink that punishes individuality. In such cultures, anyone who doesn't conform is seen as a threat. The lazy, ambitious man doesn't just break the mold, he questions why the mold exists at all. This is deeply uncomfortable for the group. When someone opts out of the rat race and still wins, it forces a collective reckoning. It raises questions people would rather avoid. Why are we hustling so hard? What are we afraid of? Who are we trying to impress? Instead of facing these questions, society turns on the outlier. He's mocked, dismissed, called lazy or arrogant, but the hostility is a defense mechanism. It's easier to attack the nonconformist than to reflect on the system he quietly resists. Jung called this projection, the process of attributing our own repressed emotions onto others. 6. Depth versus hustle, two kinds of ambition. Most people confuse movement with momentum. But Jungian psychology teaches us that real transformation often happens in stillness. The lazy, ambitious man understands this. His ambition is focused, not frantic. He doesn't chase every opportunity. He waits for the right one, and when it comes, he's ready. This way of living is powerful and terrifying, because it undermines everything hustle culture teaches. If you don't have to kill yourself to succeed, then what was all the pain for? The lazy, ambitious man forces people to ask whether their suffering was ever necessary. That kind of insight is destabilizing. It challenges not just individual beliefs, but entire systems, education, corporate life, social media. It reveals that the emperor, hustle culture, might not be wearing any clothes. 7. The path of individuation. Jung believed that the goal of life isn't to be liked or successful, it's to become whole. He called this process individuation, integrating all parts of the self, including the shadow, and living authentically. The lazy, ambitious man may be further along this path than most. He stopped playing roles. He trusts his inner timing. He knows that doing less, when done with intention, can be more powerful than doing more. This scares people who are still trapped in the persona. They see freedom in him and resent it. They feel drawn to his peace and deny it. But the deeper truth is this: the lazy, ambitious man isn't a threat. He's a reminder of what we could be, of what we gave up to be accepted, of the possibility of living a life rooted in self-trust instead of social validation. That's why society fears him. Not because he's wrong, but because he might be right. Conclusion: the mirror we refuse to look in. The lazy, ambitious man is a mirror. He reflects everything we've ignored: our exhaustion, our insecurity, our need to be seen. Carl Jung would say he's a symbol of the repressed self, the self that values depth over noise, wisdom over status, essence over image. Society calls him lazy to feel safe. But deep down, we know what he really is. Someone who found another way. A way that doesn't demand burnout. A way that honors the inner world. A way that whispers, "You don't have to suffer to be worthy." Maybe we fear him because if we listened closely, we'd want to follow.